Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 70 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings and Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies slash co-hosts, Noah, Justin, and Thomas. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all Siblings in Cardboard. Gentlemen, how have things been since the last time we talked?
I'd say pretty good.
Don't everybody talk at once now. I mean,
Yeah.
Whoa.
Nothing crazy. I didn't go into any RTNs. I had family stuff on Saturday, and we've already discussed this previously. Georgia got like nothing.
Yeah, there was a draft
really
RTN
weird.
this weekend. I tried making it, but unfortunately, I had to work that morning, so I couldn't.
I did see
But-
the top 8. It was like, strangely enough, there was like a 6 wins, and then no 5 wins, and then a full list of 4 wins.
So the reason why is it was 8-man pod, 8-man pod, 6-man pod, and the 6-man pod got scuffed, so there was no 5 win because like there was no like 3-0 into a 2-1 situation.
Okay,
Yeah, besides the guy who went 3-0, 3-0, 3-0.
that makes sense.
So yeah, and I heard he won a lot of games off the back of Tarantula Toxin in 2 different pods, and I watched him win a lot of games off of Tarantula Toxin in 2 different pods.
Wow, that's
how you
really...
open Tarantula in 2 different pods? Wow.
He got one
Wow.
of them passed to him. So,
Oh
Really?
No, I just
Yeah.
take it for the fun of it.
although to be fair, I think one of them was like talking to the people who were in the pod. It was like some really interesting picks. It's either like take Toxin or take Deadly Digits. And like early on, you're never seeing another Deadly Digits again. It's like,
That's a tough one.
yeah, that's a tough pick. So I don't know. But yeah,
So-
but go ahead.
Tarantula Toxin's kind of hard to play, right? Aren't you like really hoping to get a couple cards that make a Chelicera?
They're rares, yes, and he had them.
Okay, good deck.
So yeah, he just had good decks.
Good deck is good.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy because if your opponent like saw it, like maybe you pitched it, so your opponent knows you have it, the Graphene Chelicera just becomes this looming doom.
Mm-hmm. It's like that thing's gonna get 6 on me at some point. I'm
Yep.
screwed.
And there's no way to stop it. Like you're getting cooked
Nope.
by it eventually. And you're not going to throw 2 cards in front of a Chelicera, so it's almost going to certainly mean you die.
Yep. So
That's
anyways,
tough.
but
Well,
yeah,
I can see why
it
you won.
was. Yep,
good
and
card
it
is good.
was 7 locals out of 8. Like 7 of the people who show up on Tuesdays were in top 8. So
Yeah, I know
shout
a
out
few of my
that defended home
friends.
turf.
A few of my friends from the Macon, Dublin area came up and played too, and they were all in the bubble.
Yeah. Well, the bubble's huge.
Yeah,
it was like.
was.
I mean, it's if you got that many 4-win people, it's like it's just gonna be huge. So, anyways, but yeah, so that's the only thing that we've had. We had an armory on Tuesday where, I guess, because you guys technically did it on Wednesday, right? Or though we did like a segment on Wednesday, but really the pod was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Donnie and I played in a finals where I got blown out to hell and back by a schism.
Yes.
I was playing Kano just to have fun, and I was like, all right, I'll play Kano again. That's fine. And I thought I high rolled the hell out of him. I was like, activate Kano, hit a D pot, play an E pot, Arsenal Wildfire. I was like, he's so screwed. And then he pitches a schism. Actually, Donnie, why don't you tell him how that went for you?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So my hand drawing back up is literally like blazing blue wildfire. So I'm like, and like 2 of the blues are non-block. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to go at this point, right? I have everything I need. I can guarantee all my hits, everything like that. So he pitches Schism. And I'm like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. And he has an empty arsenal because obviously it's like his first turn.
Yeah, turn 1,
Yeah.
as you do.
It like, didn't that draw you Saber Bloodshed?
It got me a Saber Bloodshed, yes.
Yes. And then the Bloodshed hits with the mark and all that because I can't stop it. Like, I have these 2 non-blocks in my hand. So that draws him a card. He attacks. He has 1 card left in his hand at the end of his turn and like 1 floating. And so I'm like doing like the quick math on it. I'm like, all right, as long as he didn't draw, it's a 10 blue deck. As long as he didn't draw one of the other blues as well in the top 6 cards of his deck, I win. Like full stop. And did it draw you the blue? Did the Schism draw you the blue, or the Saber Bloodshed drew you the blue? Yeah. So It drew a Saber Bloodshed, which was 4. It pitched for a Dagger, which was 1, so 5. And then it saved him 15 life. So, yeah, that was a really, really good Schism.
Schism, good card. I am enjoying playing with it so far.
Kano is one of the decks that's particularly good against, too, because Kano relies so much about putting a combo piece in Arsenal. And
it's so free.
There are some hits in the Kano deck that, like, ruin his game, too, if you actually hit it. It's really funny.
A couple of gems, but he pitched both the gems like very, very early, so there was no concern about that on his side.
Oh yeah. Like I pitched Will of Arcana. That's what it was. One of the like in that hand was Will of Arcana. So I was like, all right, I'm cooking. Like I thought I just had the game on lock immediately, and I was just gonna like walk home and leave super early. But I left super early for the other reason. I just got smoked.
There's other bad hits too. Like you don't feel very excited if you get like a zap.
No, you're not happy at all if I get a zap.
Because you're gonna have a dead turn to get that out of your arsenal.
Yeah. Although I did watch on stream one of the Chaos Heroes, like I want to say it was in Christchurch, where one of the Chaos Heroes pitched Schism, and the Kano like puts the card in his arsenal, stone faces it, puts it in there. The dude taps out, and it was Wildfire, and he had full combo in hand.
Ooh.
The Schism giveth and taketh, I guess.
And I was like, dude, I want to be that guy. So
in other news, I won an armory for the first time in forever.
Nice.
Yeah.
Finally went 4-0 at an armory.
Nice.
And we actually had enough on Tuesday night to have 2 separate armories running. We had one full draft pod and then a 10 person CC armory that I won on the side. So the Johns Creek location, Level Up Games, I'm going to go ahead and shout out Level Up Games, Johns Creek. If you are in the Atlanta area and listening to this, show up on Tuesday. Come hang out with everybody. It is a great time, great people. Come play some games.
They're like really good games too. I would say the level of play in the Atlanta area is very high. It's a little sad that it kind of sucks getting around there, and it's hard getting to some of these other armories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the lack of RTNs and PQs, despite the level of competition that we have in locals, it's a little frustrating, honestly.
Well, hopefully the good turnout for RTNs, I think in the Southeast, we'll get a few more next time. Like, I'd be happy with just 4. Like, 2, with only one of them being in the metro area. It was really rough. Like, the next closest one for me wasn't even the other one in Georgia. It was the one that I went to in South Carolina. So,
how far of a drive was that?
only 2 hours. It's literally, the city's called North Augusta because it's north of Augusta. Like, it's just across the border. I think we usually go to eat at a Mellow Mushroom there. That's back in Georgia.
Nice.
Oh, okay. One of those things.
Yeah, it's like right on the border. It's a nice store. Express TCG is a great store. Every time I've been there, like they're really good at hosting. The event is snappy. Like they always end their events like an hour earlier than like you would normally expect. So they run a tight ship. Nice place.
Nice.
I've been playing Syndra. That was my experience this week, other than smoking someone on my Discord league with Florian. I'm not super impressed by Syndra so far. I think she's unsolved, and maybe that's why. But I think it's really weird, and we'll talk about this. She is crushing RTNs, but I'm not impressed. I've already got all the cards, so I'm going to keep trying. But my enthusiasm is waning.
We'll
It
see.
makes sense that she's crushing RTNs though,
Mhm.
because like we discussed in the group chat earlier, people don't know how to block for mask right now. We're still all figuring out how to block against the mask.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it? Do you just learn how to block the mask and then you start beating her? Like,
Well, I've put it in because I don't have any good heuristics yet that I truly like about blocking or not blocking mask, right? Or like how to block mask. So I just like basically just lobbed a shot and both of them just like, hey, how are you guys blocking Syndra? And both of them have gone into like 55 plus message conversations about blocking mask. So
I'm assuming it depends, I guess, on what's being presented. Also, what's
Yeah.
been used. I mean, because
And I don't think people have come to like a full conclusion yet either. There's a couple different camps, but I don't know which one's right.
I mean, I found that if she's got a bunch of 4 attacks, you just give your whole hand up. If she has a bunch of head jabs, you just give 2 cards up and then smack her with disruption. Eventually she has a bad hand and then you start kicking her butt.
So
The breakpoints make it a little weird. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't think I gave you too many mass triggers when we were playing those test games, but like it was
2 or 3 win you the game almost against almost everybody. Because that's like an extra, because she could almost always convert the card immediately. So extra 3 to 5 points per mass trigger.
right.
So
Yeah, that's crazy. But the games that I've played against her, I've basically just said no blocks and felt fine. But then I've been playing Mario.
Marionette.
you're playing Arachne. Arachne is the most deceptive assassin ever. Because assassins have been consistently like the king of block 2 or 3 cards, still threaten a ton of disruption. Arachne's just like, no blocks. I could use my whole hand and all of it messes you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying Arachne. I mean, I love new, but I basically knew as soon as I saw an aggressive assassin. This is more my flavor. New is more mid-range, but Arachne is that aggressive style, and I've always been an aggressive style player, so
It's time to go back to the old you.
Arachne. Do what?
I said it's time to go back to the old you.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
before
Fun.
before we get into like RTNs and stuff, how are the prices of hunted cards going? I know Shelter from the Storm went down a little bit, right?
No.
It didn't?
No.
Not really. I mean, it depends. It depends what you mean by down. I mean, I think down insofar as it didn't go up. No, it's. I mean, I'll double check. It's still $78.
Oh, that's down.
It has a. Is it really $78?
In my head, I had
foil?
it locked in at 80, so it's down $2.
Okay. I mean, it's still
That is by definition down. Yes.
It is. Okay. Well,
Oh,
we'll give you that.
look, it even downturned on the chart a little bit. You're gaslighting me, Noah.
But it's up there for $78.96 with 99-cent shipping, so it's practically $80.
I mean, technically.
It's gonna be hard for it to go down. I mean, I think eventually it will. It'll settle a little lower. Most people are just being patient on it. I would be patient on it. I don't think I'd pull the trigger on it just yet. Definitely something that I would wait on. Same thing for these specs, like Trench of the Sunken Treasure. This is that pirate tax that everybody's paying right now. That's what we're gonna call it.
Instead
The
of foot
pirate
tax or assassin tax, it's now pirate tax.
It's now pirate tax. So if a card had anything to do with pirates, okay, and I mean like anything to do, because I mean I don't know if Rowdy Locals was pirates, but put it this way, if it had a pirate-esque feel to it, I feel like everybody's just buying it up.
Wait, Rowdy Locals went up?
I want to say Rowdy Locals at $7 doesn't seem like it should have been there. So I will double check.
It
that
is
one.
going up. It is
Okay.
It's steadily been trending upwards, but it's not like anything amazing.
No, it's got a 22% increase from its low at like 4. It's now at 7 or 8. But here's the thing: I don't know if those are really pirates on the card art, so it's a tough one. They're just stealing things. Do you know what I mean? Like they're doing piratey type behavior.
Well, I should have bought a trench at $100.
Oh yeah, the EAs have gone through the roof.
It's almost $200 now.
It's yeah. So 184 for the EA trench, $37 for the regular one. They were about $40 still, so they haven't really budged. Most everybody's just kind of chilling on those. If you guys never had the Queenstown, I think it was the one, the Ravenous Rabble.
Yeah, that thing.
Anybody want to take a wild guess what the price of those are?
No,
Don't
I sold
cheat.
you one of those.
Don't cheat. Nope. Yeah. Well,
cheating.
let me.
Congrats on your money.
Look, I
Whoa.
think this is exploitation on the finest level. But anybody want to take a wild
What?
guess what they're at? Yeah,
Are we at like
Okay.
225 or
They're
something?
just bought out. This
Yeah.
isn't the real price. There's only one listing.
There's only one listing for 226, but they completely sold out. Don't know why. It's weird.
Riptide, baby.
Highest one sold at like 113, but 226 is what you'll pay right now. So just giving you guys an idea that you probably don't want to take a look at those right now.
Yes. Not time to max rarity a red
Any red line deck?
Yeah, it's just not.
Let's take a look at Tunic. WTR Tunic is 185. So it is slowly getting back towards 200, which I think is actually pretty crazy. Bright Lights is 170, History Pack is 163, and Crucible is 162. So they're all pretty high. That's the highest we've seen Tunic. Pretty steadily getting an increase. So hard to say what's going on.
I think I remember helping a few locals out because I had that like streak with Bright Lights where I opened 2 of them in a row. I think I remember helping a few locals out, getting rid of them for like 80 apiece. They made money off me. Yeah.
To be fair, you just opened it, so.
And to be fair, no money has been made except me, because usually you buy your 1 tunic and that's it. You have your tunic.
Yeah.
It is pretty crazy. It's going back up.
Yeah. Game popularity is at an all-time high, I think. Like, Misfail into Rosetta into Hunted have been bangers that really align with a lot of players.
Yeah, the hype cycle is really doing its job.
It is. And we've seen steady increases in some of these staples. CNC, I think, went down. So you're looking at like $80. I think I've seen some low ones in the terms of 70s since the other one came out. So effectively kind of making it cheaper. I think if the CNCs fell to like 60 eventually, it would feel pretty good. Even 50 down to more like an E-Strike. I don't think they'll ever get that low. I just don't know how they would. But
I don't think it's going to go much lower than 60, and it will probably find its way back up after just a little while. I mean, the demand on CNC is just that high. It's probably going to pull the same rubber band that Tunic is having right now, right?
probably. I mean, and then obviously the more players that enter the scene, right? The inevitability is CNCs will get bought up and or needed. So
guess what card went up though? No. Related to CNC, because as soon as you said CNC, I wanted to go look it up.
Is it Pummel?
No.
It did go, I was gonna say I did see Red
what card's
Pummel.
related to
Hold on.
CNC?
Red Pummel.
Crown of Providence is up $20.
Oh well.
Yep. The market
Crown
average
will-
was like 85 or so, and now it's at a solid 100.
Crown will go up till more card draws in the meta, and then balance will go up and Crown will go down, and they'll continue to do that. Because balance is 95 right now for Rainbow Foil, which feels pretty criminally low. But let's talk about some things that have actually gone up that have play into the meta. So number one, Destructive Aether Tide. I think this has to do with Verdant. So there's no other reason. $20 a Majestic, so had a significant increase. It's also very, very limited right now on TCG, so it's about $20 plus, and I think there's only 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, like 10 of them. So not a lot of Destructive Aether Tides out there. But if you want to jump on the Verdance train, I know the Heartbeat of Candlehold extended art promos are being like bought as they're being put on. Because I sold out of the place that I had, and then I went to look and there was none, and then there's like one, and then they buy it. So it's being looked at. Verdance is being looked at right now. Okay.
Earth good. All 3 Earth heroes I think are moving into a meta that's good for them.
Earth is a good place to be.
Another card that should be on the radar is Stonewall Gauntlet. I think that this card is really good. It's a generic. We kind of talked about how the generic equipment is going to have a fluctuation. Embrace the Determination will probably have its day, even though it's at like $18 now, but Stonewall Gauntlet is having its day. So $53, $54 for a Rainbow Foil Gauntlet, which is up quite a bit. It's got a 30% increase in less than a month. And it's close to 60. I mean, there's really one up there, then it jumps to 60, then it jumps to $100. So Stonewall, it's popular. I think it's actually good.
It's so funny because like you can look at the history chart and you can kind of like see when Bonds gets banned and it just pew, and now it's creeping back up because of like it just kind of messes Syndra up a little bit.
What's the
Well,
thing
also
that,
if you're a
set of
Verdance
gloves?
player, that's your gloves.
Oh, that's true. That is probably
Yeah.
her best gloves, right?
It's either that or the blade beckoner gloves.
I was just getting ready to ask about that. What that one is at Cold Foil right now.
Oh, blade beckoner arms, because Enigma's also playing that thing. Yeah.
Blade Beckoner gauntlets.
Yeah.
Your Blade Beckoner gauntlets in cold foil.
Yeah.
$2.
I have seen this floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, the art of these are really nice.
Yeah, they're good. They're good classic fantasy warrior dude art. But yeah, no, those are your 2 arm slots for Verdance if that's what you choose to do.
Feels good.
Myself a set of gauntlets.
I would like a pair too. I think generic piece, guys. Cold foils, there's one at one. Oh no, actually, oh wow, that's a cheap cold foil.
I already put it in my cart. Don't talk about that. I saw that and I was like, let's fix that real quick.
Well, if you weren't gonna do it, I was gonna do it because I was sitting there going, "Wait, that's a CF." Holy
Let's explain
smokes.
why these are good because we were just talking about them.
Yeah,
but Blade Beckoner gauntlets, they're kind of the quote unquote draft chaff of the new set. They say this gets +1 defense while defending a weapon attack, and they have guard well, and they have 1 defense. So the way these interact is you get to block an attack action for 1, cover a breakpoint, and then later it'll be at 0 defense because guard well put it at -1. Then you get to block a weapon for 1. So,
or you just get to block straight up a weapon 1 time for 2.
Yep,
which is also a good thing to be doing.
And they're generic.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to explain Stonewall Gauntlet, it's when this defends an attack with greater than its base opposing attacks get -1 this combat chain. So a lot of cards have ways of giving buffs. I mean, this particularly could be good into Fang, could be good into any type of go wide deck that's generally buffing. I mean, Katsu, Ninja, things that generally increase their value. You get to kind of block that attack and then give -1. So it really kind of punishes the opponent for going wide.
It's really good for stuff that locks you to the chain too, like Spreading Flames and Syndra, or any of the Kitty Cat lines in Zen, for example.
Or literally anything Katsu wants to do.
Yep, literally Katsu's entire deck.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, if Inertia Trap is ever good, which it is right now, then by similar logic, Stonewall Gauntlet's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it is just a block too on any pumped attack. In Riptide, I ran it to Azalea.
Syndra tries to do like a Wrath turn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the card Wrath of Retribution. And that's his combat chain, if I remember right. Because, she cares about combat chain stuff.
I'm double checking. I know it messes up Spreading Flames bad. Like, completely nixes Spreading Flames. Yes, it is chain.
Yeah, so like you just absolutely mess up. You just get to null out a Wrath turn if you want to, which, I mean, we're going to talk about later.
You get one of. You only get 1 per game, and their gloves completely get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like, it's good. Or you're worried about like an Ancestral Empowerment on a specific chain link. And then you get to do the thing. And now Ancestral Empowerment is no longer an issue.
Wait, I don't think that works.
Does it not?
It's not retroactive.
Wait, is Gauntlet not retroactive?
No.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. So it would have to be like they do the first tenant of fire beforehand on the head jab. So the head jab comes in for 4. You block Gauntlet plus 2 block. No, plus 3 block.
It does effectively ruin breakpoints sometimes, so it's nice there.
Yeah.
Right.
So, anyways, it's a good glove.
What else, Noah?
All right. So, Real End is on the radar, I guess. This is simply because there's pirates on the card reeling things in. Okay, like so just understand.
Wait, hold, that's the bad instant. I had to think about what the card was for a second.
Yeah, this
So
is look at
bad.
the top X plus 1 cards of your deck. Choose up to 4 traps, reveal them, put them in your hand, and then shuffle. I'm on a firm believer that event. And also, it's a blue block 0 Ranger instant with an X cost, and it has reload. But still, good job, guys. I mean, you know, if reeling is the money market ticket, kudos to you finding it out.
You know what happens if your opponent
all about
reveals
that.
4 traps in their hand? You go, pass. And then the next turn, you go, pass. And you just hand filter until you have a really good hand. And just let the person sit with the 4 traps in their hand. Be like, what do I do with these? Because they're a
Eventually,
ranger.
you got to run into them, though.
What was that?
Said eventually you've got to run into the traps, though.
That's right.
At some point, they're going to get the value.
Maybe you could just.
What
you
if
know,
I just pitch to grasp and swing Reaping Blade over and over again and trigger 0 of your traps?
Yeah.
Well, if he's got AB, he can just pitch the AB. Eventually,
Or-
they'll
Yeah,
filter the
exactly.
traps
Or
out.
just filter your hand as Enigma until you get a 10k and drop a 10k.
Look, there's
and
a reason this card was. It was designed for a reason. Okay, just let it culminate.
It was designed because Flesh and Blood loves putting. They have to have a couple bad Majestics in there.
No,
And we love our
All
blue
Majestics.
do nothings. This isn't even a blue block 3. It's
What?
literally a blue do nothing.
everybody
Like,
laughed at me when I said poison the well. Just you know, and eventually it had
Noah.
its time. Okay,
if you
Poison the
pitch
Well's
a
still
blue
good.
into reel in, that costs you 2 cards to look at X plus 1 cards. If you manage to get 4 traps, you're only up 2 cards, and they're red, and your opponent knows what they are.
that's okay.
But people are specking on Riptide because of the pirate set. So.
Right, big pirates. It hasn't really gone up that much. Like, nobody go crazy with it. It's like
Well,
up from
they printed dagger
negative
attacks.
dollars.
Maybe they could print trap attacks too.
It's up from like 80 cents to $5. So it's really not going anywhere fast, but it's on the radar. Okay, it's reeling. The cards you need to get before they go through the moon. Warmongers, I think, is at 92, so eventually it'll probably hit 100. I mean, I remember when this was $45, we were like, you probably got to get your playsets. Well, if you don't have your playsets, Dusk Till Dawn is going to be the next set, by the way, that gets the treatment like those 2 behind me that we'll discuss in just a second. But it's going to hit 100 plus.
New
And,
Rangers coming out too.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, probably. So,
Rangers or mechs, both of them notorious for playing attack actions and non-attack actions.
Well,
Or
Dash IO.
Necromancer.
you better have your Warmongers. Let's put it this way.
Or loading your items or loading up your items and unloading your items.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, I forgot that you can't do gun. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
That's why people are like, oh, this is about to leave. We're cutting Warmongers. I'm like, no, you're not. It still hits a lot of decks.
Speaking of Rangers, the next card, if anybody would like to take a rousing guess what Codex of Frailty is,
Oh, God, no. I don't want to know.
and we'll go for the bonus points for the EA version as well, which I actually just looked up for fun, and now I'm sick, and I wish I wouldn't have because I'm
That's
never going to get them.
ridiculous. I'm cheating, by the way. Like,
Yeah, it's okay. So Codex of Frailty is 108 right now for the non-foils, 120 plus for the foils. It will not probably go down, and I'll tell you why. We're going to talk about it just because, I mean, I'd like to let you guys know the state of it. The Marvels are 405, and then they jump to 500, and they are going to the moon. Let's put it
Wow.
that way. They're going to be moon level here soon. And especially if Rangers come out, and especially if they're good, I'm not joking. You could see Codex of Frailty with its limited supply, with what's going on with Outsiders and other of these fab kind of 2.0 boxes right after Uprising. You're seeing 150 plus. Seriously, for Codex of Frailty, non-foils. I mean, if a spike happens, if a reveal happens with the Ranger, they're going to the damn moon. The moon.
So we had one set off of Codex, right? So we had Hunted, which was a Codex set because of Assassins. And then we had Rosetta, which was off. And then we had Hunted, which was back on for Codex. And the set before that was Heavy, so no Codex in that set.
Right.
Right? And then what was the set before? Oh, Bright Lights was before that. We don't talk about that set.
All right.
And then D to D.
And it was
before that,
D to
right?
D, which was
Yeah.
off,
So-
which was off as well.
So it's like, but it feels like most of the sets lately, your odds of actually having a Codex set are better than not.
Rangers are real high odds right now, really high. With Azalea being as close as it is, and there not being a new like Ranger to me feels, if not this set, it has to be the next set. So we're getting to that point regardless.
Yeah, because if Azalea LLs, I could see like the Ranger identity to some people will actually be just straight up dead.
Yep.
Yeah. But honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a Codex reprint from High Seas.
Pirates don't read books.
No, but Rangers do. And, you know, the expansion slot would make sense, just like they
The
did for Command and Conquer.
vile, nasty book thing does look like something that does belong on a sea.
Dude, Codex of Inertia is only $2.
What, you don't think
Yeah.
there's diseases on pirate
Hell
ships?
yeah. I got the
There
expensive
are so
books
many
already.
diseases on pirate ships.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just going to will a reprint of every
There's
good card
diseases on-
ever.
If there's Rangers, oh man, what if there's new books? What if there's new codexes of
Oh
diseases
no,
and
please.
plagues? Ooh.
Oh,
Counterpoint.
Lord.
No.
Yeah, but there's no way Frailty doesn't get
What
used.
about, what
just
about
saying.
Codex of Ponder? You ponder twice.
But one of those face up.
Oh,
So
Actually-
it's not a ponder.
No,
It's create a
actually,
ponder
New
token,
Horizons.
create a
You,
insight
you
token
might be
or something.
cooking. I don't know. Dude, I love New Horizons.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because like
Speaking of, is that on your list, Noah? Are we looking at New Horizons again?
we
That's
can
gotta
we
be
can double
going.
check. New Horizons is up there. We'll talk about New Horizons.
I hope somebody picked that up when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago.
New Horizons is 120 for the rainbow foil and 149 for the cold foil. So right now the cold foil is actually pressing higher than the rainbow foil.
Yeah.
And it'll probably go up, especially
Wow.
if anything gets announced that can use it. That would mean 3 of a kind should probably go up.
It's funny when you look at the trend, Noah. On the trend on TCG players, just like straight down. It's not showing the spike yet.
No, yeah, it hasn't had time to adjust for the value of it. The only other thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of like singles is Ripple Away is actually on the downslope. So I think if we get more books, Ripple Away becomes better. So this is a good time to get your Ripple Aways. They're $7 right now, which I think is really low. This is what I told you guys about the fluctuation. So Metacard's down, buy them up. Amnesia's low right now. Sensor's trending down. So if you don't have those, also, I'm not going to say this too loudly, Weakest Link is back to $42. I myself need to get a playset still. So please, guys, if you didn't get it at 60, 70, 80, you've seen what that card can do. Try and get them at like 35 because they will go back up eventually when that meta asks for it. So definitely do that. I threw a Brute card on there, Send Packing. I think you should probably have a playset of them if you don't. If Brutes do come out with this whole pirate feel, that card's just ridiculously good. Like ridiculously good. Like
The
it's
new card,
Arsenal
too.
hate, but it's really good.
What's
And
the
then a
new
new
card
card as
called?
well.
Thick-Hide Hunter.
Thick Hide Hunter.
Yeah, that card is good. Like I think I have to like make a retraction because I was very underwhelmed by it. But in brutes that like want to have the option of playing defensively, blocking 6 out with the last card in your hand is insane.
It also got the extended art treatment, so I would definitely pick those up. They're pretty low right now. Last thing, I just want to keep an eye on boxes, just because I don't think we do too much with this. So Dynasty, I didn't think it was possible. It's selling at $800 a case. So just in case you thought it wasn't real and that people were not going to pay that, I promise you they've sold for $800 a case. They will be eventually gone, and there won't be Dynasty. And if you need Dynasty cards, you're going to be having a tough time. So not trying to incite like a fire sale, but seriously, it's pretty crazy. Outsiders is also almost there. And these codexes, we just talked about it, how expensive they are. If they have the same treatment, I mean, Outsiders right now is $450 for a case. And there's only 3 cases, well, 3 listings, I should say, of cases. One at $450, $545, and $1,200. And the Outsiders boxes, there's one for like $126, $130, and then they go to $140, $150. But there's only like 6 boxes on TCG Player. So I know LGS is having things like that. Really good time to start, to get the boxes. It's probably the one time that your LGS is probably cheaper than TCG player. I mean, they're
For
usually
sure.
pretty close, but like
Yeah.
right now on those things,
Yeah, if
I
you go
mean,
to a store and you
if you-
see Dynasty at like 110, you could actually just
right?
you could buy it right then and
Mhm.
immediately sell it on TCG player for more.
I won't do it. It's
I
gonna
think
sit
they
right back there.
like looking at the prices and like how these are actually selling. I'm pretty sure a box of Dynasty, like a booster box of Dynasty, would probably instantly sell at 140.
Oh, it would. It would probably sell all the way up to
It's crazy.
200 because if people it would be just.
Wow.
Welcome
Good
to Fab 2.0. That's it. I mean, that's what I got. Things are getting crazy. I'm not. Next week we'll look at Dusk Till Dawn boxes, but I promise you they will eventually have the Willy Wonka effect. So,
Like
whoever out there bought like 1 billion Dusk Till Dawn boxes, it's probably you, Rudy. I know. Good for you, because the Willy Wonka fire sale will eventually happen. Because I think there's still artist cards out there. I know I dream of it every time I open up one of those boxes. I think, wow,
it's hard to know
could this be the
because
one?
it's not as prolific
That's true.
as like some of the Magic Gathering serialized cards. So there might be
That's
people
true.
who opened it and didn't show it all.
Never said anything. Well, the gambler in me is gonna say they're still out there. So Dusk Till Dawn all the way, baby, to the moon. We gotta try.
So
You can try.
is this like a
Yeah.
growing pain for Flesh and Blood? Because we talk about bad pricing all the time on some singles and stuff, and it is getting more expensive steadily.
Yeah.
I think so. There's Gottlieb was on a podcast recently talking about how the game still feels young to him because even though it's been around for 5 years, like, and that feels like a long time for us, the consumer. For them, that's, if you think about it, for 3 products a year, that's only 15 products,
Right.
right? And some of those years they only had 2 products come out.
Yeah.
And also, they're only
So it's like-
realizing product that they've made like 1.5, 2 years ago now. So they're like in their
Yeah,
third
it's
year
behind.
of product design.
Yeah, so it's like they are running into what is actual growing pains of what their model is getting stress tested in ways I don't know if they expected it or not, but it is getting stress tested and they are having to react accordingly. And we'll
they'll-
see what their reaction is.
They will fix it. I can almost tell you there will probably be some History Pack 2 Electric Boogaloo whiteboarder with reprints. There has to be. Because it's a way that Flesh and Blood can introduce cards that are reprints without somehow damaging the ones of the old. And the way that they probably do that is with whiteboarder. So a whiteboarder Codex of Frailty could eventually exist. I don't think that that is a bad thing by any means. Those are the cards that I would be looking at reprinting. Especially from some of these sets. And that's kind of how you keep it going. And you also make people like Mr. Peter at MinMax happy because he wants to make a full whiteboarder deck. So you got to give him more cards. You can't make one set and just not.
Ew,
keep
no.
Look, they actually look pretty clean sometimes. They've been growing on me. I don't know about it because I like the shiny stuff, but I get it. Trust me. I think it's eventually needs to come, especially because I don't think they fully understood the amount that they printed out versus the new player. So as a new player and we can kind of segue this in, but as a new player that wants to come in, right, and reach back 4 or 5 sets, well, they didn't know they were going to have this many new players when they released that set, so they didn't overprint it, because if you overprint it, you ruin it at the time, and they didn't want a Monarch debacle again. Monarch really, really opened the game up to don't ever do Monarch again, because Monarch was so just grossly overprinted. And it still is, mind you. It's one of the cheapest sets out there with Tales of Aria. It's grossly overprinted. But now that if the more players that come up, right, you got to reach back and go, now I want to go to Dynasty. Well, could get into Dynasty because they're not printing it anymore and it's all gone. Which I have to hold dearly because I need to open Emperor. So this is tough. This is tough. I gotta open these eventually, 1 box at a time, 24 packs at a time.
History Pack 2.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It has to. I there's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of when.
Or some kind of anthology that is reasonably priced and actually something that you could buy in the United States instead of only buying Japanese pack.
Well,
that's something useful.
Yeah, but I was thinking about that too. Would they do something like that, just like for the rest of the world, instead of just trying to get Japan caught up?
I hope
But
so.
it would be white border though. There would have to be a
I don't care
distinguish.
what border it is. If it comes in like the $6 to $8 price point and it's got a higher rarity value than a standard booster pack, that actually fits what I want to buy occasionally. Because I find myself, I'm at an LGS. I only spent like $5 or $10, and I actually feel incentivized to give my LGS a little bit more money. I'd buy one pack of like an anthology and just see what I could get.
Well, I mean, I would too. That's why I actually really enjoyed when History Pack was out and about, because I thought it was really cool to get a CNC, get an Art of War, get a Stormstrider's Legendary, get a Tectonic. It just felt cool that I could get any of those cards. So they need to do it again, but they also don't want to damage cards that are already in existence. That's why it has to be some kind of pseudo. It would have to be white border if they brought it to America as an anthology to fit the motif of what they've already given in History Pack 1. It just makes sense. There's probably another way to do it, but you reprint a Codex of Frailty and only common, and I mean, shit, go for it. I don't care. Does Codex really need to be $200? No, it doesn't. Just give us some reprints of those crazy cards.
Right. So, guess who's in first place on the Living Legend board?
Does it start with a V?
It no longer starts with a D. It is definitely Viserai. Yep. Our boy Viserai is by 4 points in the lead on the Living Legend board at 944. He picked up 24 wins this weekend.
Man, who would have thought adding an extra rune chant when you already have like 3 Malefic out would equal that amount of wins?
It's pretty good.
Actually, it's not good enough, because at this point I'm a little nervous that an underperformance in week 3 means that he doesn't hit Living Legend.
Prior treatment, here we come, baby.
So he will. Even if he
he's still got 2
underperforms,
weeks.
he's got 2 weeks, and he would just need to do like 30, and he would need to do 30 and 30, which he was above 30 the first week. It was like 40 something the first week.
So keeping the same average, he would be gone.
Oh,
Yes.
even the
Next
same
series.
average he's gone this weekend. Like he only needs
Okay.
he only needs to pick up 18 wins. He picked
Something
up
like that.
24 wins this weekend. So
Well.
this coming weekend, 18 wins gets him
See you
there.
later, that's right.
Second place was Syndra at 21.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprising.
Hey, how many years do we think until Dash IE LLs?
I think
that's-
she will accidentally win a tournament, just like she usually does. That's how she's gotten her past like 150 points or so. She just kind
But
of
even if she randomly wins a tournament, there's
It's only
nothing
50
that gives
points.
that
A
much
calling is 50
Yeah.
points.
No,
That's
she'll
right.
win like
You'd have to
World
win
or something.
Worlds or a
She'll,
Pro Tour.
she'll win one of those. It's Dash. Dash is a value centric deck, so whenever that meta finally comes back in where she can exploit it, or one of these one off like Mac cards that they print eventually clicks, somebody will break it. I just don't think people are really looking at it right now because there's all these fun toys.
they haven't printed a dash card since Twin Drive.
Well, it's coming. Don't worry.
I think she's still around in 2027.
Ooh,
That would be
That'd
so
be crazy.
crazy.
That'd be
You
crazy.
think Kano's going to be there too?
No, Kano leaves before that.
Okay. So Dash will be the last Arcane Rising hero? Because Azalea will definitely be gone, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe. She can't win an RTN.
Wait, who else is in that set? Kano,
Viserai.
Azalea.
Viserai, Azalea.
Oh yeah. So
Dash.
this is Azalea, Kano are gone. Yeah. So she'll be the last Arc one.
That's sad.
But yeah.
Yep, but banning High Octane. Correct move. All right. Third place
Anyways.
was New Alluring
Sorry.
Desire with 18 wins. So she's still crushing it. Aurora dropped a little bit in value, but still 16 wins.
Still a very good aggro deck.
Yep. Mario is sitting at 9, Prism at 8,
Good.
Enigma at
Yep.
7. The Prism at 8. People are identifying that she's strong in this meta. She got more wins than
Don't wanna
Enigma.
block.
That's crazy. Well, people
she's
can
got-
block. It's just like, how do you block someone who's throwing like 7 to 11 at you every turn for 2 cards? Because they put out the Pierce Reality and they're sitting on like a pump in their arsenal. Ooh,
Yeah, you gotta kill the dog.
that
The
Herald's
dog's
gonna,
too
While
good.
drawing
the Herald's
cards
gonna
and
hit you.
developing a board state. I mean,
You gotta
yeah.
kill the dog. Yeah, you gotta kill the dog. But she's also like, what else was keeping her out? Was just Enigma?
Enigma.
Like, was there any? Is there like any other matchup she wasn't enthused about that was good? Viserai is really good.
Yeah, Viserai flattens her, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
but like I love that matchup as the Viserai.
It's trivial.
That's one that feels
because
good.
you're running 3 birthday cakes, you're running 3 amplified Yark Knights. You could probably side in like 3 more.
No, you're thinking about it the wrong way. It's every single angel is not worth 4 value.
Yep.
They're only worth 1.
Every angel's only worth 1 value.
Yep. That's the important part. Because then it's like, oh, this Herald hit, and it's supposed to be, if it hits, right, say it's a 6, it's supposed to be a 2-card 10 because you get the 4 health off the Herald. But instead, it's a 2-card 7.
Some of your hands
And they
don't
start
block, so
8 health down.
I think Succumb is always just
It just
you.
blows games open. Yeah. Yeah.
So when Viserai LLs, more prisms come into the meta,
Oh yeah,
right?
especially
for sure.
especially if the meta is Syndra, because Prism just beats the crap out of Syndra. Like it's not even, it's almost an unfun game. Like it's bad
Why is that?
because
Cinder seems like it has wider links, but just not being able to block it
she-
efficiently or
no,
wanting
she
to.
finds
Or...
it on Arclight Sentinel and you just lose the game on the spot. Like so the race you're doing with Syndra is maybe the first turn you block because your hand sucks. But as soon as you get one good hand, you go no blocks and you hope she doesn't find an Arclight Sentinel. If she finds an Arclight Sentinel, you lose.
So from the Prism side of things, the reason why she's really strong is Heralds will actually get their value because you're like, oh, what about Flick Knives? Well, in that matchup, the important angel, and Herald, honestly, too, is Herald of Protection, the one that makes Spectral Shield. So that way you're insulated from Flick Knives. So therefore, like your mask is never online. All their angels are gonna and all their heralds are gonna hit because you can't block well. And if you try to block, you're gonna get blown out by Wrath. And then they're just gonna have the dog sitting there, just like pumping every single herald forever, and you're gonna cry in a corner.
It's pretty bad.
That tracks.
I've seen Prisms just burn their entire soul on nothing but Herald of Protection just to make like 17 Spectral Shields over the course of a game, just to make sure that like if they ever flick, they don't get to the angel until the Prism wants them to get to the angel.
Like you think Flick Knives is pretty good into Prism. It's actually not. It's quite mediocre.
Yeah, like the Prism gets to pick if Flick Knives is good, and they will always choose no.
It's the same thing as Enigma. You'd think Flick Knives is very good into Enigma, but a lot of times Enigma has plenty of counterplay around it.
So on that same line of thinking, then what other decks kind of get better if this starts to shift the way and potentially LLs?
Earth Heroes.
Yep. Earth
And
Heroes.
that is
Okay,
yeah
I'll bite.
again yeah
Why?
Okay.
I invite.
Okay, do you want me to explain?
You can go ahead and
Here,
explain.
so, yeah. I'll talk about it. Okay, so I've mentioned my 24 blue theory before, right? That 24 blue decks have a really hard time in Viserai. Both Verdance and Florian are 24 blue decks, right? So by just like that logic, flat up by themselves, that's good for and okay, so every podcast is somebody's first podcast. The 24 blue theory is that decks that really need like 1 blue a hand will play 21 to 24 blues because the hands where you don't have the blue is really, 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 really bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a deck like Viserai or other wizards that tax your blues have a hard time in like these 24 blue decks have a hard time into these decks that tax your blues, right? That try to do arcane damage. Because if you only draw 1 blue that turn and they're throwing 9 rune chants at you or whatever, you can't stop those 9 rune chants because you need that 1 blue to even function on your turn. So that's always really, really tough for you. The other thing with these like 24-ish blue decks is that some of them have hard times hand extending, and Viserai could always strain you with cards in hand. And then like you're swinging Surgeon Aethertide for 1 into a Destructive Aethertide for 2, and that's your whole turn. And this just played out.
Yeah, you think one more attack is coming in and they just read the rune sheet or Blessing of the Occult.
Yep. Yeah, he would just like juke you out and you're like, oh, well, my turn still sucks. And Verdance has Scour and that does help the matchup out, but like if the Viserai knows what's going on and they're trying to play around Scour because I think that's the only card that matters in the matchup, then the Viserai wins.
And the 24 blue theory is actually even worse for Florian than you think. Because if you do draw the extra blue, what are you doing with it? Because it's probably a blue card that you'd like to block with so you can decompose.
Yeah.
But if you pitch it to rune chants, it goes back in your deck where it's literally doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, the best blue in that matchup for Florian is Flourish, because no matter what you do with it, when you see it, you're like, oh, thank God, I can always play this card.
Yep, I could block with it,
And
I
just,
could
like, use
pitch it, or I could play it. It's
Play it.
always good.
Yeah,
Yep.
I have noticed that when I was playing Florian, and then the all red hands were miserable.
Brutal. Yep.
Absolute,
You just block with
misery.
3 cards and Sling Reaping Blade, baby.
It was like, wow. Thank you for
And
this.
then
Man.
Jarl is the other Earth deck. There are game plans that Jarl can do. There are a lot of them that are really funny that are good for that Jarl can do into Viserai. But the issue is, if the Viserai knows what's going on, it doesn't matter how many blues the Jarl presents. The Viserai should be able to have an answer for them. Like, it's one of those like zigging and zagging things.
I think he is the best. Out
of them,
three.
he is the best by a long shot. Yes,
It's
Roiling Fissure helped out a lot.
Blizzard.
Smacked Reality helps out a lot. Blizzard's good.
Yeah, Texan.
There
the
are,
action's
like-
Texan.
Yeah. There are ways, like, if Viserai is just building up Rune Chance, Jarl gets to blow up all the equipment, and that's good. But, like, ultimately, that matchup, unless the Jarl commits a lot of time, effort in practicing the matchup, as well as sideboard space, they will lose that matchup.
It's what you don't have to.
Okay.
Because he's gone next
All
weekend.
right.
Yep.
But yeah, we need to get back to what decks get better. After
So,
Viserai
well,
goes.
all 3 Earth heroes get really good once Viserai leaves.
Does
Really
Vincent
good to
not,
stretch.
does Vincent not swing up there and take Viserai's place? and
Vincent
also
gets
then
better because one of Vincent's bad
re-tax the Earth
matchups
Heroes?
is Viserai. But Earth Heroes actually like Vincent. Okay, so the 24 blue theory doesn't matter when it's okay for you to not have a turn, because eventually Vincent will not have a turn.
I guess she has more limited amounts
Yeah.
of threats. I mean,
No, it's just like if she doesn't have any rune chance out when her turn ends, she's not gonna have a turn next turn. Like usually
Also,
she has to
Vis's
take turn off.
damage.
there's
Vis's damage is
Dirge.
legit like 50-50 Rune Chant versus, or like Arcane versus physical, where Vincent is like 33-66, right?
Mhm.
So you can actually block out a Vincent if you need to. So
Yeah, so if you have
She'll
the
get
2
better.
blues, you could pitch 1 blue into blocking the 3 rune chance from a Deathly Well, throw 2 cards in front of the Deathly Well, then no damage is
Yep.
dealt, they don't get any rune chance off the Deathly Well, and then you can activate Grass the Arc Knight and throw a Reaping Blade into their face, and they're very sad.
Yep.
Unless they hit you with the you can't prevent, and then they are getting it.
I know this from experience because I was playing Andrew Lorenz, who was on Florian, and I was on Vincent, and he literally did that to me for like 9 straight turns and killed me.
I mean, that was my battle hardened run, was literally just see Vincents make their life awkward. It's great. Who else gets good? Enigma gets better because that was a rough
Yep.
matchup for
Enigma
her.
gets better. I think she'll
Enigma will
LL
come
pretty
back.
quickly after Viserai goes.
She doesn't care about Syndra. She's fine with New. That's like a 50-50 skill matchup. Aurora's a
Whoa,
50-50
hold on
skill
a
matchup.
Hold on a second. Enigma doesn't care about Syndra?
Told you,
No.
the Flick
No.
Knives doesn't do anything.
I think she's like slightly favored into Syndra. Because also she can run all the really good defensive like 2-for-6s. They just like fit her cost curve really well.
So
So you get to be erase facing, CNCing. You could tunic pummel if you want to, like that one Enigma was. And you have
Phantasmaclasm.
really good.
It's so overrated.
Yeah, Phantasmaclasm. See their one Draconic starter. Get
and then
rid of
take
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ew. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That is true.
while
just,
blocking well. Yeah,
Yeah,
just think about some of the play lines that you could do, right? Like you go, okay, Syndra, do your worst. You take like literally 30 damage, and then you respond back with a Mirror Guy and a Coalescence and a couple shields on the board, and then like you could lose your entire board. Syndra didn't deal you any damage. You dealt her like she's not gonna block, so you dealt her like 20 damage in the backswing. So you're almost at life parity, but you also have this board full of shields that she can't get rid of. So you get to choose when you give up all the shields to block her mask momentum, and then you could just redo the same thing you did. Drop another Mirror Guy, swing at her for a ton, swing in with a Phantasmaclasm. I mean, I think Syndra is still good into Enigma because Syndra doesn't often have dead hands that let Enigma get a free board untaxed. But it's, like I said, Flick Knives doesn't deal nearly as much as you think it would.
yeah. I think like as the skill gets lower, the Syndra gets more and more favored. But like if we're talking Pro Tour, Day 2 of a calling type thing, I would put the odds slightly in Enigma's favor, if not like pretty reasonably in Enigma's favor.
Warrior gets better, I think. When Viserai
Oh
leaves.
yeah, oh my god, yeah, all of them do, but Warrior's never going to be good because we're talking about how like, oh cool, Vis leaves. Now there's Florian, which no Warrior really enjoys seeing, or Verdance, which no Warrior enjoys seeing, or Enigma, which no Warrior enjoys seeing.
Wait. Does Kasai actually really hate those matchups? Those are like super grindy matchups, and she's pretty tricky. It has some really good like board value potentials that Verdance cannot get rid of. If she plays a good what's the army one? Raise an army?
Yeah, okay.
Like
If she does have
if Kasai plays Raise an Army, Verdance just loses, right? Like
there's more than that. You have Destructive Aether Tide and a couple other ways that actually target allies, so you can get rid of the army.
Mm-hmm.
But the healing pot combo is pretty reliable on turn 15, and you just got to get the game to turn 15.
okay.
So you're playing like all the ponder generation, all the drawing stuff, all the like just like anything that lets you cycle through your deck faster as the Verdance just gets a combo and oops win. So it's a race of like the army versus the healing potion combo.
I'm excited for us to be 100% wrong once Viserai LLs and we see a couple of the events leading up to Pro Tour.
I mean, like, I would love for Dual Wield Warrior to come back because that just tells every assassin to go in the corner. And, like, assassins are good. Like, assassins are really, really, really good right now.
Yeah.
'Cause if you can't...
Let's keep it that way. I like
No.
assassins.
So, yeah, I'm just like, I don't know where this goes because you're still looking at the top of the field being Aurora, Assassin, some iteration of Illusionist, and then the Ninjas. Because Zen is still good.
Yep, Zen is solid. He does get worse when Viserai goes away because, like, that's who he preys on. He preys on Viserai.
He's losing a good matchup, yeah, but, like, he's still Zen. He has the most flexible card pool, and he has the most flexible build ever.
I don't know about most flexible. That probably goes to Jarl with his massive card.
Okay, yeah, you're right about that. But like his card pool is crazy because like he can still fit all the 2-for-6 generic stuff in just as easily as the rest.
Iris pretty flexible too. It's really hard to know what attacks she's going to throw at you.
So we think Zen is going to be legal for London?
Yes.
Yes.
That was quick. Okay.
I think he's legal for Nats.
Ooh.
I think a lot of the Zen players jumped over to Syndra because they have different weaknesses and strengths. And strangely enough, I guess they didn't care about the strength in the Viserai.
Also, like, well, Syndra is strong into Viserai too. Every Viserai player is just having a nightmare with that matchup, except for like the three of us who committed to the blocking version of Viserai. And then it's like a 50-50 until they draw Warmongers, and then it's over. But I don't know. I don't know. I just until Zen is gone, I think he's just underplayed. Full stop. And I don't know. Like I don't have a good reason for why.
Underplayed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if you look at his kit, he's like Katsu who gets to activate his hero power without having to hit first. You cannot fatigue him. Like with the exception of Nu, because Nu deletes cards out of your deck. But
yeah,
Zen is not fatigable. Like he's got 2-1 over and over and over again, over and over and over again, and a lot of times those have cosmics for 20 somewhere in there with it. So the deck is really strong.
In aggro mirrors, you get to guarantee that you're going to resolve your best card at least twice via Chi plus Hat. So you can chase a tail in 1-for-7 people and just be like heinously above rate, and your cards are super awkward, so your late game is really good. Like a 2-card hand when you're at 1-1 of Kakara and this Censor or any of the 1 costs is super annoying to block.
Mm-hmm.
So like he just has crazy good tools. I think it might be that he needs to be reactive to a meta as opposed to proactive at this point. So he's kind of seeing like where the chips fall, and then he's going to build his deck accordingly. But that deck's strong.
Yeah, I think the needle ban hurt him quite a bit because
Yeah.
he does lose some space in those 4 or 5 turn games. But I think in the 8 to 9 turn game range, he's very, very powerful still.
Yeah. So I don't know who else gets good.
Who do you hope gets bad? Who do you not want to see?
Like, who's been preying on Viserai and hopefully gets worse?
Do you think New like somehow gets worse? Do you think she's...
Oh,
No.
New's so
Not a
steady,
chance.
man. She's so steady. I don't think she cares. Because, like, okay, if your top decks become what? Syndra, Aurora. Aurora is kind of tough for New. That's a weird one.
Yeah.
Because Aurora just doesn't care, says no blocks, because every card's worth 4. So you just say no blocks and, you know, take your lumps and hit.
Then wouldn't Syndra be tough by the
really
same thing?
Yeah, but 3 is not 4.
Yeah, Syndra wants to keep more cards, though. Aurora can present 8 off of 2 cards every single turn. And New can't always get to those numbers. That's the best way to beat New is, you know, that turn-over-turn value. That's why Ira is a tough match.
I mean, Syndra can do those numbers. Like I said, I think she's unsolved because Syndra has some really insane 2-card hands. Like,
Yeah.
Ignite into R the Dragon Flame is stupid.
That's a pretty good one.
Or actually, Oath of Loyalty, Break of Fealty, Flick a Dagger, Get a Resource, R the Dragon Flame. That together is wild. Because that is a 2-card 12.
That's pretty good.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So she has 2-card 12s, and they come up and they're not like as rare as you think they are, because Blood Splattered Vest is kind of busted.
That's a good card. And so if we think the Earth stuff gets good, then Aurora just gets better because Aurora is really good into the Earth stuff. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where this all falls out.
It's weird to think that Viserai is acting as a stopper for a lot of decks, because we don't see a lot of Viserai locally. I mean, Justin, you play him every now and then, but I don't know. It's just weird for me to think that he's the deck to beat. It's weird, right?
His matchup spread was really, really flat, and like he was really good for Swiss, in my opinion, because I sit across from random matchup that I've never played against. It doesn't matter because my deck was so flexible and can do a lot of things, right? So I think he was really, really strong in those regards, but he has been pushing a lot of things out, like these decks that are tight on resources and need their resources, like he's insanely good into. It doesn't feel like that because MST is around, and like, so if you've been playing MST, that's kind of been an issue for you. But like, I know I lost to Marionette a ton as Viserai, but the data showed the other direction, where Viserai has been pretty favored in a Marionette.
That's interesting. It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, like once you think about it, it's like, okay, well, he can do the blocky thing and like outmath the Marionette, and then it's fine. But I don't know, like all of the like all the decks that are like, you're not tall enough to ride the ride, those are the decks that he's been keeping out.
Or decks that just
like,
their game plan revolves around not having to deal with a ton of split damage and pings.
Yeah. Because, like, look at Florian. We've been talking about him a ton, and, like, a couple of us here have been working on Florian kind of behind the scenes. And he had 1 win last week.
I forgot to bring that up. I'm astounded. That hero is so potent.
I'm pretty high on Florian in general.
I don't understand how there's so many Syndra wins and not more Florian wins, because I'm convinced that, like, that matchup is, like, almost cursed for the Syndra. Like,
yeah.
the first time you throw Felling of the Crown, the game ends. Like, they don't have a big hand anymore.
Yeah, it can just end on the spot sometimes. And then you have like Seize of Tomorrow to guarantee it and just like ignore mass trigger.
Well-grounded says for 1 turn they can't mass trigger.
Yep. Yeah, you get like 2 free no mass triggers, and You play Shelter because Shelter is a good card.
So
How good is Calming Breeze right now? Like for people that can't afford shelters or want to replace.
okay,
Is it a potential Sigil of Solace replacement?
I think in some metas it's better than Sigil of Solace because preventing damage is almost always better than gaining life. The exception is when you struggle to utilize your entire hand. Sigil of Solace is just this card that lets you use your hand no matter what, right? Great.
Uh-huh.
But if your goal is to recover from small hits and breakpoints, that card's actually pretty good considering it costs like a dime.
I am really high on Calming Breeze right now because I think Syndra and Assassins are two decks that you like full stop have to respect. And the Calming Breeze stopping a dagger, like the one prevention that it does there is essentially blocking 2 because we're talking about the good heroes here, right? So they're either swinging Hunter's Clave, which Mario then gives the stealth attack a +1, right? Or we're talking about New with Mistblade, which gives the blue attack a +1 and go again.
Even Ira, you're like if you're trying to block on the dagger swing so that you can ignore the last hit, you're stopping. You're just completely flattening out a Mass Trigger. Like one card, Mass Trigger's gone. You can actually just not block for the rest of the turn, and you're usually good to go.
Yep, I like it because it's a card you put in your arsenal against Rune Chance.
Yep,
it does a lot of good things. Like I don't think the card's busted right now. But if your deck is a deck that has issues with Rune Chance or Assassins, I would be heavily looking at Calming Breeze in your deck. Like I'm playing it in Acilio.
You can't play the prevention effect from Arsenal with Shelter from the Storm as well.
Yeah.
Once it's in Arsenal, it's just a generic D-react before. It's actually the worst of the D-reacts once it's in your arsenal.
Yep.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I haven't actually put it into my deck yet. But I've been looking at Sigil of Solace and thinking, why isn't this Calming Breeze? I should probably try that.
I think this is a meta where, unless you're Aurora or Verdant specifically, Calming Breeze is better than Sigil. If you have Sigil in your deck.
There's other, like Verdance uses it for life gain.
Yeah, well that's what I was saying, other than Verdance or
Verdance
Aurora.
is an exception, though.
Because Aurora, Sigil gone in a flash is just so strong.
Sigil of Solace is probably still better for Riptide if you're trying to add a little bit of life gain and breakpoint coverage, because you could load an arrow off of it.
Okay.
Funny that that's a thing that can be done, but it's using Sigil of Solace to load an arrow and then shoot a searing shot for 4 is still a 2-card 7.
But if you're like doing like the Fatigue Enigma thing or something like that.
Well, it's just a way of covering breakpoints, right?
Yeah.
Like if you took a bunch of one hits, you Sigil of Solace. And...
Yeah, I'm thinking about like those like Fatigue Enigma builds, right?
Oh.
You could be playing Calming Breeze instead of Sigil. Unless you're specifically trying to use the Sigil to dodge Poison the Well for Count Your Blessings.
No, I like using Calming Breeze. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that card's good. Like, I don't think it's busted, but it is a card that you should at least look at. And if you don't own your shelters, it is a budget option.
It's way better than First Impression had with it. I think I gave you an extended art one, like on the first week.
You did?
I'm like, ugh, this is gross. Get it out of here.
Yeah. And I was like building a Acilio, and I was talking with someone else about it, and he was like, yeah, you play 3 Calming Breeze because it's an instant that you can discard. I was like, perfect. I'm just going to play 3 Calming Breeze.
Okay.
Seems good.
Well,
It does feel pretty good.
I'm excited to see where the meta heads. I think we have almost a full dead month all the way till Charlotte. We'll have a little bit more to talk about RTN wise next week. And then I think RTN week 4 is where we actually like really get to see like what a meta is without Viserai. It's kind of nice that we do get to see 1 week of it, right? Without Viserai. I want to see who comes out on top with Viserai gone.
It's going to be interesting.
We'll find out.
It's always interesting when a hero LLs because the whole metagame shifts and everybody gets sideboard slots freed up, new decks rise. It's even just one hero when the top hero goes, it's as big a shakeup as, a new set coming out.
Like, just remember when like Icelander LL'd and Dromai LL'd, how much that changed.
Oh gosh.
changes the meta.
When
It was so
Icelander
big.
went, the entire game basically changed. Because that was
Dromai. When Dromai left.
That's why it's one of the reasons Prism is good. Because once Stromai left, everyone said 7s? Ugh. 6s? Ugh, get these out of here. I'm doing 4s.
Yeah, people have gotten rid of poppers for so long. I haven't had to think about putting sideboard poppers in for like a legitimate year now. It's been great.
Now you do.
Now, yeah,
Now you gotta
now they're
do
all the
it.
way back. They're back.
All right.
yeah, but go with 7s. Don't go with 6s.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
All right.
sometimes I tell her to just break that Halo. I want it gone.
Fair enough.
If you say so. Battlefront and Bastion, those are probably pretty good right now.
So I have to say, if you attempt to pop and she breaks Halo and then you de-react, that's good stuff. That good
does feel
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
That feels really good.
All right. We could meander about Prism. I think we talked about Prism for almost like 30 minutes. Let's not do it anymore. Let's get out of here.
All right. We ain't got nothing else then?
Nope.
Not yet.
All right. Noah, where can everybody find you, buddy?
At Big Max Fab on Twitter, at Big Max on Blue Sky, Big Max on Discord. Hands open in packs. By the way, thanks for 190 subscribers. We're close to 200.
Oh, yeah.
So
Take it.
super cool.
We need to
Really
start
neat. So
front-loading
just really nice, guys. Thank you out there. But other than that, that's where you can find me.
that. Okay. Justin?
J_EVS5 on Twitter and Jevzo5 on Discord and Blue Sky.
He's got it locked now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about it ahead of
On
time.
point.
I thought about it ahead of
It's
time.
on
So I was like,
point.
all right, I'm gonna figure it out.
All right. At Wet System
Thomas?
Fab on Twitter, at Wet the System everywhere else.
All right. I am Draco Hominus 87 everywhere social media is sold. That is Blue Sky, Twitter, Discord. Not LinkedIn. You can find me as Donnie K on LinkedIn if you're curious, but don't expect a whole lot there. It's a bunch of political, not political, but
Professional.
corporate BS. Professional. Yeah, that's the word. It's professional. I am doing my best to maintain a professional aura on LinkedIn. Don't believe everything you see. My last article was the Slippy article, which finally came out. And if you read it, let me know, because I wanna get some feedback on that list, because I was actually really excited about it, and I want to know what people think about it. Don't know what the next hero is going to be though, and I got to write an article in the next 2 weeks, so we'll get that figured out. Anything else? Nothing? Nobody?
No.
All right, cool. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and if you did, subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
Look, I just want to say, guys, don't get so lost in this meta and whether there's going to be pirates or not. You don't want to be too spur locked in that you don't read your cards, because when you read your cards, it explains the cards, and then it explains the triggers. So do your triggers, read those cards. Take care. Who's Spurlock? Oh.